Hello, Thriving Therapist. It's Thriving Thursday, and all month long, we are going to be doing Facebook Lives on different topics that you guys have said you needed more support on. So, I just wanted to see, first of all, if this is going live. It's a little weird. I know you probably always see people checking in, like, is this working? So if you're here tuning in, just give me like a quick thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me and see me, and that we are live and rolling. So today's topic is all about defining your niche. I've been saying niche. It must be my Midwestern accent. But I think it's niche. I'm going to be a little French with you today. So we're going to talk a little bit more about defining our niche because it's so important. And there are 6 different topics I'm going to go through very quickly today in our mini workshop about why it's important that we do this and how do we do it. So when I do coaching with therapists, I find that this is a big stumbling block for a lot of people, and they find it difficult to try to narrow this down. And their biggest worry is usually, if I define my niche or area of expertise, will that limit me? And the answer is no. So we're going to go into that a little bit further today, but defining your area of expertise and your specialty will not limit your practice. In fact, it will help it grow. So I see a few of you tuning in. Can somebody just give me a quick little thumbs up or a comment? I cannot see the comments yet, but let me know if you guys can hear me. I want to be sure before I record like a 20-minute live that it's working. Last time I did this, it was inside the event page and it wasn't on the main page, so I want to be sure I didn't make that same mistake today. So what I want to dive into is, number 1, why are we doing this? Why do we need to define our area of expertise? I think the most important reason why is because we need to be able to define our marketing efforts. So if you are not super clear on, oh, hi, Kim, you can hear me okay. If you are not super clear on who your audience is that you want to be serving, who your ideal client is, and what your area of expertise is, then your marketing materials will not be clear either. So that's like super critical, because the way that you frame your marketing materials, the way that you frame your online presence will have a lot to do with whether or not you're super crystal clear on understanding who your ideal client is. And this always comes through to me when I do a review of people's online real estate, when I look at their Psych Today profiles, when I look at websites. If there is information on there that looks incredibly broad, like that you see every single kind of person in the world and you can treat every kind of diagnosis, then that is problematic, because when someone is trying to find a therapist, they instantly want to feel like you are the one for them. They want to feel that you have the expertise to be able to address their needs. And if you're super clear on who your ideal client is, then your marketing materials will reflect that. And the ideal clients that you long to work with the most will read your information online and automatically be very reassured right away that you're the person for them. So that's our why. That's our number 1 tip for today. We're going to go through 6 different tips, but our number 1 tip is why. Why are we defining our area of expertise? Why are we defining our niche? Because we want to be able to target our audience appropriately, really hone in on our marketing efforts, and be able to describe what that ideal client is and be able to address those needs when they're reading about you online from the comfort in their own home. So it helps us also define 2 important things. It helps us define what we do as therapists, and it helps us define who we serve, right? So when we're super clear on that, it gives us a sense of therapeutic identity. So, you hear people with a lot of confidence saying, oh, I'm a therapist that works in this area. I have a specialty in this area. I'm a grief and loss therapist. I'm a trauma therapist. I'm a divorce recovery therapist, or I work with, addiction specialty, whatever it is, depression, anxiety, or I'm a mood disorder specialist. So you hear these therapists kind of claiming their authority and expertise because they've done the work of defining who their ideal population is. And when you work with those people more and more and more, you're honing your practice and you're able to really, create an identity for yourself around who you serve and why you're serving them. Okay, so I hope that's clear. And feel free to also post any questions that you guys have. I have a mini agenda in front of me, but I'm open to any questions around this topic today. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you have. The second point I want to address in today's mini workshop on defining our area of expertise is really getting clear on who your ideal client is, okay? So we really want to get specific on this, and by that I mean not only the demographics of who you're serving or who you love to serve, but think about your favorite clients, okay? Even if you're just starting out, think about the clients that you've had that you think, I love working with that person. What is it that you love about working with that person? Is it something about their character? Is it something about the way that client likes to work or how they engage? Is it that they are open? Is it that they are hardworking? Think about those character qualities and put that into your list when you take some notes on who your ideal client is, because it's not just whether or not they're this age, or they have this background, or they're this gender, or they have kids, or they don't have kids, or whatever your ideal client mix is in terms of demographics. It's more than that. It's also understanding what you love about working with these clients. Because I have a few clients that might fit my ideal client profile, but they're not my favorite clients. But then I have some clients that are my absolute favorite clients that may not have the same demographics as my ideal clients. I'll give you some examples. So if you look at anything about me online, about my psychotherapy practice, you'll notice right away that I have an area of expertise in women's health. And that's my niche. That's my specialty area. And the interesting part is that you can see that broadcast all over online. You can see it on my website. You see it on my Psych Today profile. You see it on any blogs that I've written. You see it on articles I've been quoted in. It's a lot of women's health information, okay? And yet, I get requests for male clients. I get a request once in a while for an adolescent client or a college-age student. Sometimes I get a child referral, which I don't take. So it's interesting to me because I had a male client one time call me and say, I can tell that you clearly work with women's health. That's like your area of expertise, but you've been highly recommended to me. And I'm wondering if you'll break your rule, like to see me, because I would like to work with you. So I had a conversation with this gentleman, and it turns out it was going to be a good fit based on what his needs were and what my ability to help him was going to be. And many years later, we still have a very good therapeutic working relationship, and I love working with this guy. So had I said no because he didn't fit the perfect profile, it would have prevented me from having a really rich therapeutic relationship with this client. So I don't want you to think that when you define your area of expertise or you claim a niche population, that you're then cutting off everyone else that you would ever work with, because that's not true. You would be able to then obviously take other clients, and it's not going to limit people from reaching out to you, because guess what? They still will. And a lot of them won't even read some of the things you have online, so they don't even know that that's your area of expertise. They just got your number from somewhere and they're going to try to schedule an appointment. So don't believe that it's going to be a limiting factor if you define what those characteristics or demographics are, because you can define that and still have, you can still draw in kind of the marketing angle that you really want to be able to put out there for the clients that you're trying to draw in the most, But then you can also have a wider catch net that will catch a few of these other clients that normally you wouldn't probably advertise that you want to take, but then they find their way to you and it turns out to be a really good working relationship. So I hope that's clear. I hope that you guys can resonate with that kind of messaging because I don't want you to feel limited. We had a post not too long ago on the Thriving Therapist Facebook page that said, describe your ideal client in 3 words or less. I don't know if you guys saw that thread, but it was amazing because everybody put in 3 words that describe their ideal client. So if you had to do that exercise right now, what would the 3 words be that would define your ideal client? And when you think about it, that will really inform your marketing. It's going to inform your network, so it's really important to keep that in mind. When you're thinking about your ideal client and defining this a little further, I want you to lean into what problem does that ideal client have right now? If you're imagining who you want to work with the most, I want you to think carefully about what does it sound like to your client? What kind of problem does your client want to solve? If you could name your perfect client, if you could name your most ideal client that you would love to work with, what is the problem they need the most help with? And jot that down kind of like you're writing it in their voice, because that could be the lead page of your website, or that could be a quote that you write into your Psych Today profile. You can make it as simple as, do you notice that you feel X, Y, and Z? When you're asking that question and someone's reading it and you've targeted that correctly, I'm telling you, it is mind-blowing. So it's a really powerful way for you to get in front of your audience in a way that helps resonate what that client is actually thinking, and what their problem is something then that you get to address directly before you even meet them. So I would be broad enough to kind of do a wide catch net again, but I would be specific enough that you're like, oh, you know what? That probably would resonate with several different clients. So think about traits, for example, of anxiety. You could say, do you feel that your worry or anxiety is getting in the way of a good night's sleep? Or, you're kind of asking a question where the client could be like, yeah, like I see myself in that description. So that helps with your marketing information as well. Our tip number 4 for today is all about market research and market analysis. So once you feel like you've narrowed down who your ideal client is and what the area of expertise and specialty you want to focus on is or going to be, then you're going to want to look around your neighborhood and look at what other therapists in your community are doing. Have you guys done this? Have you had a chance to kind of like Google the other therapists in your community? Just punch your zip code into Psychology Today and you'll be looking in the face of your competition. So you can actually take a look at those profiles and see what they're saying. How are they describing their ideal client? What words are they using to define the work that they do? Or what are they saying about how they serve their clients? It may be really helpful for you to see that, just to note the difference or to learn from some of the language that they're using. So it's really kind of interesting when you play around with that and you take a close look at other people's websites and other people's Psych Today profiles. I find that to be very helpful. So market analysis was tip number 4. Tip number 5 is a fill in the blank statement that I want you guys to take a minute and do. Okay, I want you to have total clarity on your ideal client. So I want you to fill in this blank, and it says, I help blank do what? So I help what? Busy working women who feel like they've lost themselves in their work-life balance. Do what? I help them do what? So this will help you understand how you help people, and who your ideal client is will inform you on how to complete that sentence. So when you get really clear on who you want to serve, on what the characteristics are of that person, on your market analysis, your competition of the market, on your understanding of what the problem sounds like to your ideal client. And then you can answer this question of I help what? I help who and what? So you're describing your ideal client. Do what? What do you help them do? You help them be heard and seen, or maybe you help them get permission to do something or say something. Maybe you help them with compassion. Maybe you help them with self-care, skill building. Maybe you help them process through grief and loss. Like whatever it might be, I really want you to think very carefully about completing that sentence, because that's going to also give you more information about your area of expertise and your specialty. Okay, so the sixth most important statement, and I think this is something that, again, a lot of people are really worried about. We touched on it earlier today, but if you're just hopping in now, I've seen a couple people join us since this started. Remember that defining your niche and your area of expertise is not limiting, right? So it is not limiting for us to do this defining exercise, because all kinds of people will still reach out to you for help. So if you make your marketing information online all based around this area of expertise, and this is your niche and your area of specialty, it doesn't stop people from still reaching out to you. Your caseload will be full. But the most important thing is that the bulk of your referrals will see that that's your area of interest and that's your area of expertise, and then they will be drawn to working with you because of that marketing material and the way you've crafted your copy, right? That's really important too. So if you guys have extra questions for me, let me know. I'm happy to hop back in here and answer anything that you ask me about this subject area. And I wanted to remind you that next week's topic on the Thriving Therapist Thursday Facebook Live edition is going to be all about referrals, okay? Nurturing your referrals. How do you get referrals? How do you scratch their backs so they'll scratch yours? How do you build a relationship with your referrals so that you won't ever have to worry about doing a lot of paid advertising? I built my entire practice with 0 paid ads. None, except Psych Today. So Psych Today is a profile platform that you get the magazine, you get the online platform. But I don't do any Google ads. I don't do ads in newspapers. I don't put ads anywhere. I feel like it's really important that you target your ideal client, that you understand the ins and outs of marketing correctly, and that you also know how to develop real referral relationships, because those lasting relationships will keep your practice going forever, okay? So we'll be touching on that topic next week, and I can't wait to hop back in here and support you guys. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I'll be signing off now, but I just wanted to give you a little inspiration. Keep thriving, you're doing great, and I just love this community. Thanks so much for being part of it. We'll talk again soon.